Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome. The final round is upon us here. It is round 6 of the Abruzzi Tin Top Sprint. Season 3 is going to shut its curtains at the end of a 40-minute race here at Interlagos in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the home of the Formula One Sao Paulo Grand Prix. The X home to the WEC 6 hour. Well, actually, still the WEC 6 hours is hosted at this circuit. My name is Adam Reed. I'll be following all of the action that comes to us in this final round of the Tin Top Sprint. If you're wondering where we've been in the last few rounds, well, here is the calendar to show you. We have had Jerez right at the beginning over in Europe. We have then had the Virginia International Raceway, followed by the absolute downpour. That was Monza, followed by the mountainous Bathurst circuit. We then headed to the USA for the second time for Long Beach, before then heading from North America down to South America, where we find the Interlagos Grand Prix circuit. What an incredible place to host a championship finale. Looking at the standings here, it is Jamie Nuttall on 122 points. He is 30 points ahead of Pavel Kriška. That is almost, well, pretty much going to be the championship wrapped up for Jamie Nuttall. Bobby Moss will be there in P3, 66 points. So he's got to fend off from Janis Wenzel from one of his teammates in P4. Then it's going to be the the second best Polish driver for the driver lounge racing. It's Khan Nagayan on 57 points, followed by Josh Hodgson and James Radford. Then Sam Kremers, the second German in the standings. He's ahead of Daniel Roberts and Lenny Hansen for the wheelchair racing. That's your top 10. Adam Sinecki with Guilherme Hamlin, who grabbed a third place in last time around at Long Beach. He'll be hoping for maybe one or two places better. Then we find Piotr Dorobiala in P13, followed by Tony Preston. He's had a bit of a difficult season so far to proceeding. Charlie Rudnicki in P15, followed by Simon Norton and Mikola Iwanski, with Martin Blankensteiner, the Danish driver who we haven't seen for quite a while. Last time we saw him was back at Monza with Alex Richards and Bjorn Elgin Kalseth, Diogo Marquez, and then 0 point for Milos Meshki, Martin Tiska, Daniel Kaiser, and Louis Hesketh, the 25 drivers in the Porsche Cup. We now move on to the standings for the TCR, the other category that is going to be a part of this championship. It is Craig Twardock at the top of the standings. Tom Davidson is there as well. There is separated by 19 points, and then a third, 11 back is Andrew Pike, followed by Quinton van Wijngaarden, who rounds off the top 4, all being part of the Sim Racing Collective. Then we find Vincenzo Stagnito, who's had a very, very impressive campaign. Finishes 5th in the 3 times this season, so a really, really promising moment there for Vincenzo Stagnito. Byron Forrest in P6, followed by Daniel Merchant with Mauro Gabbiati. Mav Gardner there dropping to 55 points after not turning up for Long Beach. He's then got Paul Sims behind him on 49 points. He rounds out the top 10 with Paul Smith for the Cracks Racing team. He's a point behind with Nick Clibbens, who's, of course, he's not been here for quite a while since Monza. Then Francesco Carduolo with Gareth Ronda. Paolo Miniti, one of the many Italians on the grid. He's ahead of his compatriot of Antonio Morabito. It's going to be David Barnes, Daniel Ball, Anthony Quaranta, and on 0 points, it is going to be on Solo to round off the 20 cars that have entered into our TCR class. And that it's going to be the points. We have now got 5 minutes left to go here in this qualifying session. And of course, the Porsche Cup and the TCRs pretty much out there on their own, so they get, I believe, what is 3 flying laps to be able to set the lap time. And then once that is done, they will all make their way back into the pit lane. Or once the clock's hit 0, that will be it. That will be you done. And then we can go to the grid. There you can see it is mostly dry is this track, but you can tell that there's been a little bit of rain, a little bit of precipitation all throughout the practice session. So our drivers will have, for the most part, done a lot of rain sessions. So this is going to be something to really keep a keen eye out for. How are you going to be able to adapt to the drive? This is Nick Clibbins in his Audi, heading his way now down towards turn number 4. And he will try and get the car rotated. You know, you don't really see many TCRs out here in Interlagos, but you know, the closest you can get is the Stock Car Pro series, the Brazilian, basically the Brazilian top tier touring car series. I wouldn't say it's touring cars either, because those cars are extremely powerful, over 600 horsepower, to those incredible beasts of cars, you know, have been driven by the likes of, you know, of ex-Formula 1 drivers such as Felipe Massa, Rubens Barrichello. And I'm sure there have been plenty others. I'm also trying to think. I think Cristiano De Mata, as well as former Formula 2 driver Sergio Sette Camara, who's of course did a couple tests around here as well as a test driver in Formula 1. But we head over the line with some of our TCRs now. It's currently Craig Twardock, who looks to be grabbing yet another pole position here. He's 5th of the season if he can get it. The only other driver was Tom Davidson, so that would be a big promise if he can go and set that time. Nick Clibbins to resume his pace in 2nd, and Byron Forrest, who grabbed a big well-earned podium last time out at Long Beach. He's really going to be living it up here. Pike's just gone into P5 behind his fellow compatriot Matt Gardner, and also Quinton van Wijngaarden struggling a little bit down there in 6th. Here's the Porsche Cup then. It's Bobby Moss up at the sharp end of the standings. Bobby, of course, has had a non-existent last couple of rounds. He had a DNF in Bathurst and then didn't turn up, unfortunately, for the Long Beach round. But last got a pole position back at VIR as he goes. That's Janos Wenzel going over the exit grass of the final corner. Jung Schab heading up towards the final couple of corners and on towards the straight. The German will come across the timing beam, and I don't think he's going to improve that time around. It's also going to be ahead of Sam Kremers as well. So some really competitive lap times. The top 3 separated by less than 900ths of a second. Meanwhile, I think it looks like Jamie Nuttall is up to his normal shenanigans again. Of yeah, I'm just going to start at the back and see how well I can do, which he's been doing pretty much since the 2nd round of the championship. So we'll have to see how we can maybe work that out. Best lap time so far from Bobby Moss, 133.746 from the Sim Racing Collective Esports team. Craig Twardock's in the TCR, 140.395. So it's the Sim Racing Collective Esports team really being able to hold on for the top honours in both the TCRs and the Porsche Cup class. Mauro Gabbiati goes over the timing line. Is he going to improve from his bottom position? No, he's not. He's improved time-wise, but not position-wise. What about Tony Preston down there in P12? He's going to make his way into pit lane. So I think that's, for the most part, these laps being completed. Janos Wenzel is now climbing his way up the hill. I don't really see, only see maybe one more car improving, but Janos Wenzel makes his way into the pit lane, and it's now going to be Mikola Iwanski's now just finishing off a lap time. There he is coming into the pit lane. I think the other one is going to be Lenny Hansen. In fact, Mikola Iwanski continues to push forward here. Will he improve his time? No, he won't. Iwanski finishes the session down there with the no lap time to his name. Lenny Hansen will come in, and that's him down in P11. So that is going to be the final qualifying session completed here for round number 6, the curtain closer for the Sim Racing Collective's Tin Tops Championship, partnered with Abruzzi. Of course, we have indeed strengthened our partnership with Abruzzi in recent months. So big thank you to those guys for their continued support for us here at the Sim Racing Collective. It's been a big pleasure for them to kind of join the ride. You can also check out their affiliate links to support the Sim Racing Collective as well. Any kind of small commissions from your orders. You can also use the code TSRC. That is TSRC10. TSRC10 to get 10% off from their glove, boots, and teamwear. Thank you very much to Abruzzi for sticking around with us. Bobby Mossen is your pole sitter ahead of Janos Wenzel. It's going to be Sam Kremers in P3 with James Radford. Daniel Roberts is going to be in P5 with Khan Nagayan and Adam Sinecki in P7. Then we find Bjorn Elgir Cassel, and then it's going to be Josh Hodson, followed by Piotr Dorabiala in P10. Lenny Hansen will be ahead of Tony Preston down in P11 and 12. That is going to be the 6th row of the grid. It's an all cracked racing round row 7. The two best friends on and off the track. It is Jamie Nuttall and Guilherme Hamlin. That is going to be the lineup you're going to be waiting for. Then it's going to be an all Polish 8th row of the grid with Paweł Grishka and Milos Mikola Iwanski, both in the Porsche Cup class. Then we find Craig Twardok, your pole sitter for the TCRs. He's going to be ahead of Nick Clibbins. Will Clibbins be able to go for an attack there on Craig Twardok? We'll have to see if that is possible. 6 seconds between Twardok and the Porsches, so that's going to be something to keep an eye out for. Byron Forrest will line up in 19th, 3rd in the TCRs with Mav Gardner and Andrew Pike, followed by Quinton van Wijngaarden. The number 5 will start in 22nd overall. Then we find Francesco Carduolo, the Italian driver for the Passionati Corse team. He'll be alongside Daniel Merchant, the British driver. Paul Smith will be in 25th, followed by Vincenzo Stagnito. And right at the very back, it is going to be Mauro Gabbiati to round off the 27 cars, taking on the Autódromo Jose Carlos Pache. What a race this is set to be. A lot of uncertainty with the weather. That has been a big talking point to this race. We've had rain. We're set for dry, but it's going to be about that first lap. Can these drivers tiptoe or get their way around that opening lap to then be able to get themselves set for the remainder of the race? Our cars will now start rolling towards this twisty and tight section on the racing circuit. Before then they'll make their way up the hill and on towards the start-finish straight with a fan out and see if they can gain any position. So it is at the moment, according to my standings, it's Jamie Nuttall. All he has to do is finish the race and he will be the champion of the Porsche Cup class. Of course, he will be a 2-time Tin Top Sprint Porsche Cup champion as well, along as Thomas Piper back in season 1. And then it will be Craig Twardok. Again, he has to just finish this one in order to wrap up the championship, which Craig with Andrew Pike there in P3 in the standings. 30 points between both kind of standings, so that is something to continue to note here. But they'll rise up the hill of Sao Paulo and then they'll start to make their way towards the line. The Porsche Cayman at the front of the field will now start rolling their way at a very controlled pace, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of impatient drivers waiting behind that car, we will see that pace car, the Porsche came and pulled to the left at the very last moment. There it goes. Round 6 of the Abruzzi Tin Top Championship, this curtain closer. We go racing here in Sao Paulo, and it's a decent start there from Janos Wenzel trying to go around the outside. Sam Kremis will try and maybe go on that inside line, sweeping it onto the inside line. Bobby Moss will look to retake the lead, as it looks like James Radford having a little bit of a struggle moment there. Adam Sinecki will try and see if he can potentially grab a place or two here. And they now start to fan out. The TCRs are now underway. Craig Tordock now starting to spread his wings and fly. But look at this battle for third, fourth, fifth. Here's Gardner from Forest, from Pike. And I think there's been a bit of a swapping in terms of the Porsche Cup class. And oh, we've got somebody round, 2 cars round. It's Daniel Roberts. And that looks like Conor Nguyen. So one of the Polish drivers, one of the British drivers. That's going to be massively unfortunate. I think Conor Nguyen may just call it a day already in these early stages. Oh, that's going to be a very, very difficult one. Couple cars going wide in these early moments. Head their way through and up the hill. This is about 3-4 cars passing all at once. Jamie Nuttall on that inside line. He is trying to come under attack here from what I believe is going to be Guilherme Hamlin. So Hamlin trying that outside line, trying to suss out the grip. Meanwhile, a bit of a moment there for Tony Preston. Wide goes another car, I believe. That might have been still Preston indeed. So that's going to be a big issue for the British driver. Mikola Wansky is going to try and go on through here as well. Up they go through turn 15. Now, Porsche drivers just starting to get into the rhythm. So no, not many skill issues. Of course, we will try and maybe get a replay of that opening lap to just see what happened between Conor Nguyen and Daniel Roberts. Off the track there goes Mikola Wansky, and the Polish driver getting knocked down a place further. It's not been a good start there for the Polish driver, but he has still gone up 4 places from the back of the field. He's been a pretty good gainer, but the biggest gainers have been both Piotr Dorobiala and Lenny Hansen in P4 and P5 as they make their way up through. Look at that, Radford. Oh, there's a moment here for Lenny Hansen. He's had a bit of a problem. He'll climb the hill and on towards the next couple of corners. Dorobiala up 5 from his starting position. We now see Guilherme Hamlin now starting to slice and dice his way through the field. Already Jamie Nuttall up to P8 as well. So just had our timing screen reset, and yes, Dorobiala still sitting there in P4 for the Kudats crew. He's just behind his teammate, in fact, of Adam Sinecki. So the 2 poles are going to go at it for P3. Meanwhile, we still keep with Guilherme Hamlin, who's now got Bjorn Elgin Kalseth right behind him for the MSA Racing crew. They make their way up towards the timing beam. There's been some pretty decent dueling throughout these early stages. We look back here to Mauro Gabbiati, the last driver in the field. Biggest maneuver has been Daniel Merchant, up 2 places for the Nations League Racing driver in his Hyundai. He's the second highest Hyundai in the field, and he's got another one right on behind him. But this is still Mauro Gabbiati trying to overtake Paul Smith here for the Cracked Racing team. He'll make his way through on towards this first sequence of corners, but it looks like Paul Smith wasn't having any of it. He saw that car on the outside line and thought, well, I'm just going to brake later here and see what he can do. Big puff of spray. That's water being flicked up. Now onto the racing line here as Sam Kremers looks to try and attack the outside line, but now with the inside it is going to be Jamie Nuttall to go and take P6 here. And look at that, also Lenny Hansen has been dispatched by Nuttall. It's just simple sailing for Nuttall on that outside line, and then switches to that inside, and he's now going to try and gain a little bit here on James Radford. Radford, of course, has not been one of the more faster drivers in the field. He's been solidly in the midfield, has Radford, but yeah, his best finish being well, P8. Hear me out, James Radford, his results so far: 8th, 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 ninth. I mean, it's consistency. It is consistency at the best time. Maybe you're not getting the best amount of points, but it is still worth something. And actually, that kind of reminds me, because remember, we had the drop scores. That ninth place is going to get basically shredded out, as Guilherme Hamlin is now going up the inside of what seems to be Lenny Hansen. Hansen is going to try and come back here at Hamlin's wide moment there for Bjorn Kalseth, and he now looks to try and make his way down towards the Decina de Largo. Through turn 4 they go. Hamlin's holding it around the outside and will get that traction, exactly what he needs, off the corner, and then he will be on the attack of Sam Kremers. I'm so surprised that nobody's lost it through the exit there of turn number 5, because that's such a tricky place, and of course with a little bit of standing waters running amongst the curbs, I'm surprised no one's just been spat onto the left or the right hand barriers that lie amongst the circuit. A little bit of a concertina effect happening. And it looks like now we take tabs with Mikola Iwanski in what seemed to be the battle for 10th place in the fields. A pretty high stakes battle with Hansen, with Hamlin from Hansen, from Kalsen, from Grichka, then Roberts and Iwanski. So that's pretty much all for, well, I want to say for 8, but Hamlin's going to now start to fly down the road. What about James Radford here? He's being overtaken on that outside line by Piotr Dorobiala, the funky designed yellow car. Stays ahead there, does Radford, but Dorobiala will be looking for other places. Meanwhile, Jamie Nuttall has just gone and done a 1:33.207, fastest lap of the race from the Briton. You can see him just in your pictures there, lurking in the background, as these two do absolute dueling, like it's almost like the last lap of a race. But Dorobiala just trying to find a way through, but again it just seems like Jamie Nuttall knows where to put his car, the speed of the car, the balance of the car. He knows his car inside out, and that is just what makes Jamie Nuttall. Clibbins has grabbed the lead of the TCRs. Ray Tordock just has to finish in this one. He will be the TCR champion. Meanwhile, Piotr Dorobiala is being dispatched by Jamie Nuttall. And another really good move there from him. There's, of course, Bostan Fujis and Kieran Sharp will be looking to be joined by brand new Team Top Sprint TCR Cup champion. At the moment, going to Craig Tordock. Tom Davison had a really, really good start to the season. First, second, first. And then just, what happened to him? Just didn't appear for the next 3 rounds of the championship. So I suspect will drop a good couple of places. Maybe to the likes of Pike, to Quinton Van Bygard, and potentially even to Vincenzo Stagnito and Byron Forrest, if all comes to fruition. There will still be some high-end opportunities, as we now see the TCRs now under attack here, because there goes Karna Nagayan, who had a big off at the opening stages of this one. It looks like already drivers going right up toward the pit wall. This is a big old battle here for 4th, 5th, and 7th. Jamie Nuttall. So it's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Yes, I think so. Am I wrong? I think I'm wrong. Because that is Jamie Nuttall there in the cracked racing car. I'm being a little bit confused by the graphic that is happening down there on the right-hand side. Radford now under a little bit of pressure. There goes Guilherme Hamlin. Sorry, Piotr Dorobiala, my mistake. Guilherme Hamlin is that card. Background, big hit there. And that seems to be, that's going to be really unfortunate. And it will be Piotr Dorobiala. The front caved in. That is going to be absolutely unfortunate timing there. There goes the hood of Piotr Dorobiala's Kudach Crew Porsche. He will make his way into the pit lane. Be careful with Wansky. I'm not sure if he's aware there Well, his teammate was coming into the pit lane. So we've now had the first 10 minutes down into this one. And let's see what happened. Jordan Biala, you just see the other car swooping around the outside. Oh, he comes across. He thought he was a car with the head. Comes across and lands in the middle of the circuit, which makes it a little bit worse as well. A lucky escape there from Piotr Biala. Meanwhile, this is Daniel Roberts. And oh, there's already early contact, but 3 does not go into 1. Roberts gets spat, and Karnagayan just gets collected as well. Here is Karnagayan as well. You see the 3 cars happening ahead of you. And then does he get swiped? No, he loses it on his own. That is very, very strange from Karnagayan. And the Polish driver will look to try and continue, but all the way down there in P16, a good couple of seconds off the cars ahead. Meanwhile, we're seeing Craig Wardock under applying pressure hits in Nick Klibbers. So of course Craig Wardock is not immune to mistakes. He's made plenty throughout his tin top sprint career in these early stages. I think Wardock at the moment in time is just trying to push on forward. And Klibbers, how easy of an extent is he going to be attacked from? A little bit of a lock-up from the front right there of Nick Klibbers' Audi. The top 4 all being Audis, with the 5th down to 7th being Hyundais. So that's going to be some pretty promising signs. And if you're a big fan of repetition, I'm sure that's going to be something really, really nice to see. So we'll have to see if this battle continues to rage on. And also Mav Gardner there in P3, still sitting 3.6 seconds. Oh, this is going to be Mikołaj Wanski having a big old moment down there in what it seems to be P12. He's looking to try and see if he can have a moment. In fact, that's Guilherme Hamlin. Has Guilherme Hamlin picked up any damage? The driver who's finished 3rd in the last 2 races, who didn't make a pit stop at Long Beach and managed to take all of the fuel through all the way to the end of the race. Or did they early pit? I can't remember. It's been a week. I've had my brain clogged up with plenty of other stuff, but Wansi is now chasing after Guilherme Hamlin. Hamlin having to go defensive, but does he have the same speed that he has in that Porsche? Because there's something that has definitely happened, because he should have been. He should have been pretty much up there with the mid pack, like Pablo Grishka, Lenny Hampton, Bjorn Elgin, and Cal Seth. But he just finds himself back down here in 11th. Jamie Nuttall goes and sets the fastest lap, 133.882. Sorry, 32.882. That is a whole second faster than Adam Sinecki in 3rd place. We look back here to Lenny Hansen, who's fighting down, or hunting down, I should say, Pavel Grichka, but he's also being put under a lot of pressure here by Bjorn Kalseth and James Radford, who want to look in behind. 26 minutes remaining of this race here at Interlagos. If you haven't followed us at all, go and check out the website at the Sim Racing Collective. You can follow us on all of our social medias. You can also see in the description below. We are there on Discord, and if you want, you can send a couple of cheeky dollar dues to our Patreon. It helps us out massively and continues to be able to bring you fantastic broadcasts and fantastic championships like this here at the Sim Racing Collective. You can see everything down here in the description below. Meanwhile, it is still Bobby Moss leading from the front, from Janos Wenzel and Jamie Nuttall, who's now put himself up into P3. And Nuttall on his way to becoming a 2-time Abruzzi Tin Top Sprint champion. He's still got a little bit of work to do if he wants to win this race, which he's been doing so consistently for You know, the 5 races, or the 4 races, I should say, that he has won. The only time he didn't win, he was off the podium in Virginia. VIR, a fantastic circuit, but just kind of shows its characteristics on not really being fun overtaking circuit. And there's Sinecki, Grichka, Hansen, Kalseth, Radford, Hamling rounding out the top 10. What about Tordok and Klibbens? Well, Tordok has managed to get ahead in that battle, so that is going to be a big plus for him. Meanwhile, Quinten van Wijngaarden scraping along the barriers on the left-hand side. He's desperate to get past Daniel Merchant in his fellow Hyundai, so hard onto the brakes, but again, it's just not able to grab the position. I wonder if it's something to do maybe the brake bias, the brake performance. It might just be down to brake confidence here. But now, Quinten van Wijngaarden is having to look behind here because he's now got the Italian, the first of the Italians, of Francesco Carduolo. Carduolo will head to the left-hand side. Is he going to be later on the brake compared to the Hyundai? He'll dive it into the corner. Quinten van Wijngaarden is off the, right off the limits, and he has managed to find a way on through. So Quinten van Wijngaarden in P8 there, still it's toward up from Klibbens, from Gardner, the top 3 in this battle. All of them from the Sim Racing Collective. It's been a very competitive championship as well. One that has been oh so mighty to cover. And we move our way down with a lot of these drivers really just trying to find anything in this race. You know, if they can maybe gain a couple of points to put themselves a place up higher in the championship. And I don't see why they won't. There's been some real positives we can take from this championship, I feel. Of course, you can go to our Discord and sign up for Season 4 of the Abruzzi Tin Top Series. So I'm sure it's going to be coming to you very, very soon. Dive up the inside there from Bobby Moss as he looks at a lap himself with the TCR class, just playing a little bit of a hold-up game. Janos Wenzel in P2, 0.6 of a second behind, but pit stops can definitely play a part, and I do believe pit stops will be a part of this as well, because, you know, it is a long track. It is not like Long Beach where it's very, very short. There were opportunities to save. There are going to be a lot of places on this racing circuit where you can, where you will be at full throttle, like the exit of Zhengshao all the way down to center S, and then from turn 2 up toward the Decina do Lago. You know, there's a long couple of places that they will be at full throttle, which is just something to keep that other keen eye out for. So Bobby Moss now still leading, but he will have to try and retain this lead. Still 0.6 of a second. We look back to the batting James Radford, and leading this pack is Bjorn Kalseth with Lenny Hansen. We've got Guilherme Hamlin, who's not quite making up the amount of positions he would be hoping. He's really following in the wheel tracks of Jamie Nuttall at times in races gone by, but it just hasn't quite been the same now. It's just been a real struggle for Guilherme Hamlin, and he'll look to now try and see if he can maybe make another move. But he's now up to 7th place here, which is some really good stuff. Hansen will try and defend this one, and Guilherme Hamlin will look to have to go around the outside this time. Really strong stuff there from Hansen, putting the car in all the right places, and it just worked so nicely. We now hit the halfway mark to this race here in Interlagos. We've really been able to get a really good race so far here. There's plenty of batting, but you know, it's still had its lulls here and there. We've got, you know, large gaps. The TCR not really putting their cars into the business of the Porsche Cup classes. So they will get the blue flags for that, but of course in racing like this, it's only going to be advisory. We now look back here to Francesco Carduolo. He's the 5th Audi in the field. Of course, the next one up ahead of him is going to be Andrew Pike. You're just seeing the mix of Porsches and TCRs flooding through. That is going to be Adam Sinecki trying to his way through, but of course into the pit lane he goes. He's also being joined by fellow Pole Pavel Grishka, Guilherme Hamlin, and Jason Hodgson. Hodgson, yeah, going to be in the pit lane now. So they're going to be serving these stops right at the middle part of the race. So we'll have to keep an eye out for how they come to fruition. So the top three still not having a complete change around. There's still a lot of time left on the board. You know, Nuttall has still got a couple of games here and there to do through the corner, through the straights, have traffic come to his fruition, go in his favour. But the TCRs continue to really push on forward. Twardog ahead of Clibbons, Gardner and Pike. There's a big old battle going on between first and second, and then third and fourth. They continue to rage on. We're just giving all of the as I say, we're giving all the broadcasting to as many drivers as we possibly can. We see here Janos Wenzel coming over the striped lines to start another lap time here, just to kind of close out the straight and then be able to go on to yet another lap. He's still sitting at 1.6 seconds behind Bobby Moss, which is not something you really expect, because Wenzel was right there, 0.6 of a second. In fact, that is the car of Bobby Moss. So this is not far from over whatsoever. It is a real test of when do you want to make this pit stop. Because Wenzel will pit first. He'll have the clear air. But then Bobby Moss's pit stop will be slightly shorter. Especially if he can save. That makes it even more shorter. What do you do in these types of positions? The current leader of the pit stops is indeed Adam Sinecki, down there in P6. Sam Kremers P7. This could be a decent little tussle for those guys. Pavel Grishka, second in the championship, will look to be overtaken if things stand after tonight. Bobby Moss leads the standings. Janos Wenzel looks to be taking a second. Of course, that is with Pavel Grishka already into the pit lane. Where is he going to find himself rejoining? Because he's going to be behind Moss, going to be behind Wenzel, he's going to be behind Nuttall. Is he going to be behind Hansen? I assume so. So that's going to be something to really keep a keen eye out for. And in fact, I don't think he's going to be behind. I think he's going to be in front of Hansen, according to my timing. We'll have to see how true that becomes as Guilherme Hamlin look to climb the hill. And there is Lenny Hansen into the pit lane. So the number 69 Porsche will make his way into the pit lane. It's going to be a very short stop as well. As here comes Pavel Grishka over the timing line. It is going to be 8th place for the Polish man. And what would that mean for him? Well, it looks to be that he will not quite be again resuming the championship lead. He'll have to just try and see if he can push on the tool, getting very close to that exit barrier. My goodness me, how much damage would that have caused if he decided to sidewall it? It's seriously been a something to take into consideration, but again, he's very lucky that it never happened in the end. Take on tabs here with the TCR class, which has continuously been blazing in battles. You see Quinten van Wijngaarden just trying to fend off, but then we see Adam Sinecki there in fifth. He needs to get around the traffic. He needs clear air as well. Sam Kramers is also involved in that one. So the German driver will go on through past the Dutchman, two separate classes. It will be a really, really crucial moment there for both Sinecki and Kremers. They're trying to see if they can potentially grab a potential podium in all of this. But I don't know how possible it is going to be. You know, they weren't on the podium before the pit stops. Moss, Wenzel and Nuttall are posting faster lap times than them as well, which is kind of the big heavy hitter in all of this. You know, keep with Janos Wenzel. Again, there is Jamie Nuttall, the driver who sits at the top of the championship. Will he be able to go for a move down in towards the last corner of Jungshal? He will, because there is a mistake from Janos Wenzel. He's hung out to dry like a wet cloth. And the German driver will now try and find his way up the hill. But will he get any form of advantage? Will he get any form of slipstream, any form of traction? I don't think he will. But he's going to try that outside line, and unless he switches to this inside, which he's not going to do, it is second place now for Jamie Nuttall, and I think he's going to leave that right till the very end, this pit stop. He's done it before, and I think we're safe to say he'll do it again. So Wenzel drops to P3. Oh, what does this mean for him? Well, it still means that there's a big potential for a podium on the cards. Just then about trying to work out how this can all come to fruition. Sam Kram is up the inside of Adam Sinecki. This could be a really big position at the end of it. Look how tight there to turn two is Adam Sinecki. That's even sewed up Sam Kremers as well. So some decent racecraft between the two. Of course, it could use a couple of adjustments, a couple of improvements as well. And the TCR's now come into the pit lane here. Byron Forrest, Andrew Pike and Mav Gardner going at it. Speaking of going at it, Sam Kremers too wide, too hot into Tessina Delago. You will have to hand back that fifth place to Adam Sinecki. But overall this time, still losing time to Dan Roberts, the Welshman in the number 23, who's gone up a place from his starting position of 5th. Will they be thinking about the podium? I'm not too sure. As into the pits comes Bobby Moss. Bobby Moss has now entered pit lane. We'll have to see where he comes out. Surely about a good 8 seconds in front of the likes of Sinecki and Kremers. I'll be interested to see how that all kind of pans out. Meanwhile, we look toward the fringes of the top 10, where we find Bjorn Elgin Kalseth, the MSA Racing team, the Norwegian, in the 977 behind Josh Hodson. As we now see Bobby Moss exiting pit lane. Jamie Nuttall has just gone and done the fastest lap of a 1:32.753. Moss will come out in P3, so ahead of Roberts in all of this. Roberts won't get to the end. Wenzel, I don't believe, will get to the end. Jamie Nuttall still remains a question. So this will be a highly anticipated next couple of minutes. 10 minutes left to go, left in this one. And there's still lots to think about. Quinten van Wijngaarden now takes over the lead of the TCR class, but that's not going to be too long till he has to hand that over to Craig Twardock, who at the moment is going on to win a championship, followed by his 3 Brits in the Audis. So top 10, it's Nuttall from Wenzel, from Moss, from Roberts, from Sinecki, from Kremers, Hamlin up to 7th, and then it's going to be Pavel Grichka from Radford and Kalseth, but Hodson is going to be wanting a big battle in this one because he would love to have another top 10 with the Brisson in the number 88. Of course, Josh Hodson, 4 top 10s to his name, 1 top 5 for him. That coming at Long Beach last time around. Jamie Nuttall exits the pit lane and he's into the race lead. How many times have we seen this? Jamie Nuttall going that little bit extra longer in his race car, and he is able to leapfrog Bobby Moss like he's standing still. Jamie Nuttall on for another victory here in the Sim Racing Collective's Tin Top Sprint. It has been unbelievable watching this driver perform at such an incredible level. Only once in his entire Tin Top Sprint career has he ever finished off the podium, and we saw that at the Virginia International Raceway. So it was Nuttall from Moss, from Wenzel, Sinecki and Kremers. Who else is left to pit in each class? For the Porsche Cup, hear me out, it's Khan Nagayan for the Driveland Racing. Meanwhile, in the TCRs, everyone has done it. So this is now the road to the end of the race. Jamie Nuttall has just got to close this one out with just over 8 minutes left to go of the session. And where does this kind of leave us? Probably about 4 laps remaining around here in Interlagos. We now switch to Francesco Carduolo in the Audi, the number 75, Passione Corse, right behind Quinten van Wijngaarden. Will van Wijngaarden be able to maybe make a maneuver, or just keep defensive, I should say? Still on board here with Carduolo as he looks to that outside line. But will he be able to get any form of traction? Oh, not quite. These front wheel cars, just not exactly what Carduolo wants. They're trying to bite into the tarmac here at Sao Paulo. It's just not quite working, especially even whilst being a chasing driver. But he's got a great exit off Zhongshao, and through he goes through 14 and then on towards 15. Will Carduolo have a look at the inside line? He's got to try and go late on this one, trying to put himself in that mirror of Quinten van Wijngaarden. He's going to have to force himself onto that outside line, so he's not able to switch here, so he's going to have to try and float it on that outside line. But Quinten van Wijngaarden just stays on the curb. He's going to think here, it is best if I just move to the middle here, and then back from the left to open up the opportunity through 2. That will help me through 3. And Carduolo still stuck there in P6. Fantastic effort from Quinten van Wijngaarden. 6 minutes left of this one here at Interlagos. We've had such a thoroughly well-worked race. Nuttall has been in another form once again. I don't know where he finds it, because it can't be the change down the backside of the sofa. It can't be just lying in his pocket. He's definitely had some good practice, has the British driver. Well, at the moment, leading British 1-2 over the line for the Porsche Cup class. Guilherme Hamlin still making his way through the field. He's one of 2 big gainers, in fact, in the entire field. Up 12 for Jamie Nuttall, up 8 for Guilherme Hamlin, up 8 for Pavel Grichka. So those are some of the drivers who have been the biggest gainers in all of this. I don't know the biggest loser. I think I have two candidates for that. Daniel Roberts and Khan Nagayan, 2 drivers that wiped each other out in the early stages. 11th and 12th they are. -6 to their count. Now we see Carduolo looking up the inside here of Quinten van Wijngaarden for 5th place here. Will he be later on the brakes? He absolutely is. He'll try and turn it in towards turn number 2. And we'll get that move done and dusted. Francesco Carduolo up to 5th place here in Brazil. A lot of promise happening on the racetrack. There's been a lot of fantastic flying action for sure. Meanwhile, Adam Sinecki is going to try and play defensive here because Sam Kremers is going to be on a big beast mode attack for try and get P4 here. Trying to go around the outside of the Porsche in front. Sinecki is just not being able to find a way through. But of course, there are still going to be a couple of opportunities, maybe 1 or 2 here and there. But overall, you're just going to have to be searching around and proactively looking in whichever direction. Of course, you have to be careful as well because you've got Guilherme Hamlin, who very quickly nabbed 4th place just before you can blink, really. And then, of course, Pavel Grishka 2nd in the championship, but that's going to be short-lived by the end of tonight when 4 minutes is ticked on the clock. We head to our last couple of moments here in this qualifying session. So I think it is a case at the moment where it's just waiting for that final lap of the race just to see who's going to cross the line first in terms of track position, because you never know, it could be the TCRs gets its victor first. Of course, it could be Nuttall having to do another 3/4 of a lap. Meanwhile, Adam Sinecki feeling pressure now, and he'll try and see if he can defend here from Guilherme Hamlin. Hamlin, there's going to be 3 wide in towards turn number 1. Sinecki up to 4th here, and looks like Kremers. Oh, there's contact between the two, and Sinecki's into the wall. That's going to be pretty much him done and dusted. I think there might be a little bit of suspension damage on that Adam Sinecki Porsche. And that's going to be so painful. It was looking like to be a P4 finish for Adam Sinecki. It's just not worked out. Sam Kremers now feeling pressure. What can he do up against the big driver of the Cracked Racing team, that being Guilherme Hamlin? Up 9th place so far. Up the inside goes Hamlin. We thought he had damage in these early stages, but now looks to try and float it around the outside. Will he get a switch back? No, the car is already planted there. Kremers putting that Porsche in the right places at the right time. And of course, look at Pavel Grishka looking in the foreground. He'll be thinking, I want some of this as well. He's got to try and get involved and just nab any big points that he absolutely can get through Jung Shao and on toward the exit. This could be very much some of the last laps that we run. We've probably got 2 more for our Porsche Cup class, but Sam Kremers will now have to go on the defensive. Is he looking to that left-hand side? He will try and force the long way around for Guilherme Hamlin. Hamlin now with the full car with the head. He's going to chuck the car into the corner, but has he left enough space? He has left enough space, but look at that now. Pavel Grishka trying to go on through. He had to go half onto the grassy section of the racetrack, and that was super close between all 3 of them, let alone the pair. Again, Grishka trying to see if he can get anything out of this race, whether he can salvage any good result. Starting this race weekend in 2nd in the standing. That seems to be one of our TCRs slowing up. Guilherme Hamlin is that? Yes, it is. Hamlin being sewed up by what seems to be Mauro Gabbiati. So big unfortunate moment. And also we've got Paul Smith getting involved. This is what I was talking about when it came to traffic. I wonder where Craig Twardock is in all of this. Oh, that's going to be Lenny Hansen. Lenny Hansen has gone off the racing circuit. And that's going to be a big disappointment here. Craig Twardock has already crossed the line. Jamie Nuttall's just gone over the racing line. This is the final lap of the championship. Final race of the season. Final lap of the season as the sunlight starts to dim down here at the Autódromo. Jose Carlos Pache, named after the ex-Formula One driver from the 70s that bears his name. Pavel Grishka will try something as Guilherme Hamlin makes his way into the pits with Adam Sinecki. Has there been contact between the two resulting in damage? That is going to be a question that will be kind of presented at another day. We've got a big opportunity here for the TCRs and the Porsches to come over the line at pretty much the exact same time. That would be something to really behold. Sam Kremers will now make the move on Pavel Grishka. So the German driver ahead of the Polish driver in all of this. And wow, what an absolute end to this one. Clock has hit 0. Clock has now hit 0 on this race. And we now look to see where our drivers are going to be finishing up the hill. It is a beautiful, beautiful sight. 2 champions about to come across the line. It is going to be a win for Jamie Nuttall in the Porsche class. He is your Season 3 Abruzzi Tin Top Sprint champion. Behind him, it is Craig Swardock. He is your Season 3 Abruzzi Tin Top TCR champion. As there goes Bobby Moss to slam it into the wall. Andrew Pike will come home in 3rd. Clibbens 2nd in the TCRs. Pike 3rd in the TCRs. And there had been a last lap maneuver. Pavel Grishka has got Sam Kremers at the line by a very, very thin 2/100 of a second. Here it was. Pavel Grishka goes to the inside line. He was getting squeezed there by Kremers. Squeeze. Tried to get any form of slipstream, but over the line eventually. And it was Pavel Grishka to grab 4th place right at the depths. Wow, what a thoroughly amusing race that was. So many fantastic results. And your 2 winners are your very deserved champions of the Tin Top Sprint Series. That seems to be everyone, well, almost everyone across the line. What an amazing sight here at the Autódromo Jose Carlos Pache. As the season now comes to its end. I think we're just waiting for maybe another driver or 2 over the line, but we will bring you the results when we can, and we'll guide you through the entirety of your results here at the beautiful Samba Central of Sao Paulo. 27 laps in this race, not too bad for our drivers, and I think we only got, well, 2 DNFs, arguably 2, pretty much 2 DNFs that entire race. Really good stuff. Really fantastic to see all of this racing. But here are your results then from the Porsche Cup class. It is Jamie Nuttall, your Season 3 Abruzzi Tin Top Sprint champion. He wins his 5th race of the season, grabs his 5th podium along with it. Bobby Moss will come home in 2nd. He will be crowned 2nd place, the runner-up in the championship, with Janos Wenzel in P3. Then it will be Pavel Grishka with Sam Kremers in P5, with James Bradford and Josh Hodson. Bjorn Elgin Kalseth for the Norwegian will be just ahead of Guilherme Hamlin and Adam Sinecki, rounding out the top 10. Daniel Roberts will be in P11 from Tony Preston. Khan Nagayan, earlier issues, season 1 lap down, along with Lenny Hansen, and 2 DNFs in Piotr Dorobiala and Mikołaj Iwanski for the Kuklacz crew. 2 Polish drivers out of the race. That is your results there. And then we move on to our TCRs to round off this one. 11 entries, 11 finishes, all on the same lap. It was Craig Twardock, your Season 3 Chin Top Sprint champion in the TCR class, with Nick Clibbens taking home P2. That was Craig Twardock's third win of the season. Andrew Pike will come home in P3. He grabs his fourth podium of the season, along with Byron Forrest, who was once again close but no cigar to getting another podium. But alas, it was fourth place. A strong results from the American. Francesco Carduolo, followed by his compatriot of Vincenzo Stagnito, with Daniel Merchant and Mav Gardner. Paul Smith will be in P9 with Mauro Gabbiati, and right at the end, problems for our Dutchman. It is Quinten van Wijngaarden, rounding off your 11 cars that took to the TCR Cup. We had 20 entries in that class as well. Not bad to finish with such an amazing amount of drivers. There were 25 entries in the Porsche Cup class as well. We'll see if we can maybe get an interview. Wow, we do have a couple of interviews to go through. So I'll try and decipher. I think I need a bit of help in terms of how long have we got? Because we've got 4 drivers in the waiting room at the minute. It looks like it's going to be Sam Kremers, that Daniel Merchant. I think we also have another Daniel as well, and then Byron Forrest. So let me get a good idea of the results, and let's bring in for the first time Sam Kremers into the session. Samuel, welcome in to the commentary box. A strong showing from you in this one. How was that race? Must have been changeable, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely was very eventful. We had a good qualifying. We qualified P3. Unfortunately, we got hit by a car from behind already on lap 1 in turn 4. That kind of dropped us down to the lower half of the top 10. And we had some good battles, had a few more minor moments, but I think I finished just about P5, like a few hundreds behind P4. So it was very exciting.
How was the kind of conditions all throughout this session? Because there was raining moments in practice. That's something you had to really get used to, but then it kind of transcended into that dry conditions for the race. That's something. How was that adaptability going all the way through the session?
Well, to be honest, I did a few of the practice sessions earlier, like through the iRacing UI, and that was either fully wet or fully dry. So this was the first time I really drove in a bit more mixed conditions. So there were a few spots where you had to maybe run a bit wider. I think in the infield there were a few corners, the banked ones, where you had a lot of standing water on the inside. But other than that, the conditions stayed relatively consistent throughout qualifying and race, because obviously nobody wanted to move that water away by going in those places. So it took maybe a lap or two in qualifying, but after that it was quite easy to keep that in mind.
Going into kind of the race, especially after qualifying, did you think there was an opportunity for a podium?
I think most of the races this season we had an opportunity for a podium. I think it's been execution in every race except Monza. It's been a mixture of bad luck and maybe me being a bit aggressive or stubborn on lap 1. So I think there definitely was the opportunity to take a podium here, looking where the guys I was at, whose pace I was at in qualifying, finished. But I think before P5 is also where it probably should have ended, considering the mistakes we made.
Yeah, amazing. Kind of moving on to that last lap battle between you and Janos. Sorry, Pavel. How good was that? Unfortunately, did miss out on a P4, but do you think you can walk away with this with a lot of positives?
Yeah, no, we had a lot of good battles throughout the race. The last lap battle was surprisingly clean, I will say, because that livery has had a lot of contact with me this race, but it was with teammates mainly. But it was, yeah, no, the last lap was fun. It's obviously a bit frustrating when you just about miss out on P4, but he kept it clean, I kept it clean. It was a nice battle.
And a couple more questions. Do you think we'll see you back for next season?
I very much hope so. I have to look. This season I wasn't able to join any of the practice sessions and always join the qualifying night because I have work on Wednesday evenings or until Wednesday evenings. So I have to see how that is with the timing. If it's like half an hour earlier, I can't do it obviously. But if it's the same time or later or a different day, I'll definitely be back.
And finally, is there anyone you'd like to shout out?
Yes, I would like to shout out Moser, who has been my spotter for the whole season. Um, I lost a bet to him, which is why I have to do this interview in the first place because I got a podium and we didn't expect that. And he's been a very good spotter for most of the season. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time, Samuel. It's been a pleasure, and we'll hope to see you back next season for season 4.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Samuel Kremers there into the commentary box. Looks like we've also got Daniel Roberts, 11th in the Porsche Cup class. Let's bring Daniel. Can you hear me? Daniel Roberts, you are live on the Sim Racing Collective. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Amazing. A difficult race for you here in Brazil. Kind of talk me through kind of the practice into the qualifying and then through the race.
Practice, it was trying to get feel the rhythm because we had the mixed conditions setting in, so it was quite all right for me to get so, and the quality was actually really good. Second at that point until like some of the boys decided to come in. P5 was all right for me, so that was a great start.
Of course, how was the kind of the bassing from your side? Because it must have been, pretty chaotic out there.
It actually was. After I think I got took out, I don't know who, but it happens in races. You just gotta keep your head down and just work from it until I make some couple of man-made errors on my part. It's just gotta do what I gotta do, and not being in the top 10 is kind of sad, but I've had top 10s before, so I'm quite happy with my performance and everything. So hopefully the next season or whenever hopes comes around.
Yeah, you kind of guided me nicely into next question. Do you think we'll be back for? Do you think you'll be back for next season? And if so, what kind of improvements are you looking forward to try and make?
I will definitely be back for next season. That's for sure. And for my stuff, it's just being more consistent and hopefully get into like a new goal of getting into top fives and possibly one or two podiums, which is my goal.
And just finally, is there anyone you would like to shout out?
I would like to shout out my team, Mark Whiteleg Motorsport, for helping us out with the car and everything. To Random Weck Memes for bringing out these funny memes and everything. Moser, Stephen Cumming Photography, and to my newest sponsor, which is Orange Flag Podcast. So wherever you get your podcasts, you can always listen to Orange Flag Podcast.
Amazing. Thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box, and we will hopefully see you for season 4.
Thank you very much. Take it easy.
Take care. That was Daniel Roberts. I noticed in the interview room we had Byron Forrest as well, but he is unfortunately disappeared. We had 4 in there at one stage, but we've just had 2. But that means we will now cap off what has been an incredible championship here at the Abruzzi Tin Top Sprint. We have now, I believe, got the updated standings in final. Jamie Nuttall is your champion ahead of Pavel Grishka, Bobby Moss in 3rd with Janos Wenzel in P4. Then Josh Hodson will finish the season there in 5th. Sam Kramers, who we just spoke to, who ran off the season in P6. He'll be hoping for a little bit better come next season. James Radford in P7, followed by Con Nagayan with Daniel Roberts and Lenny Hansen. It'll be 11th place for Guilherme Hamlin. Will he be back next season? I think I'll just leave you with a I hope so. Adam Sinecki in P12, followed by Tony Preston and Piotr Dorebiala, with Charlie Rudnicki and Simon Norton, followed by Mikola Iwanski. And then we find Bjorn Elgin, Cal Seth, Martin Blankensteiner, Alex Richards there in P20. And then we'll either go further down, Diogo Marquez, Milos Meshki, Martin Tiska, Daniel Kaiser, and Louis Hesketh, the 25 driver that entered into the Porsche Cup. That is your standings for the end of the season. Here is your TCRs that entered this championship. It is Craig Twardock, your Season 3 champion, ahead of Andrew Pike. Tom Davison drops to 3rd after his no-show in the last 3 races. It'll be Quinton van Weingarten in P4 with Byron Forrest and Vincenzo Stagnito. Then we find Daniel Merchant with Nick Clibbins and Mav Gardner. Mauro Gabbiati with Paul Smith. And then we find Francesco Carduolo. Paul Sims, Gareth Ronda, Paolo Miniti, Antonio Morabito, David Barnes, Daniel Ball, Antti Coranta, and Arndt Solo. Round off the 20 entries for the Sim Racing Collective. And if you want to be another one of these 45 drivers that entered into this championship, just head over to the link in the description below. That is where you will find the Discord and our website to sign up for one of these fantastic events. We have more than just the Sim Racing Collective Tin Top Sprint going ahead as well. You can also have a look at all of our other championships that are going on, if any others are taking your fancy. But from myself here in the studios and my fellow producer, thank you so much for watching. Take care. We'll see you in Season 4. Good night.